I ain't asking no questions. Let's go do it. Like, that's him. Like, but that was his vibe. So, but I will say, even though I had that from my dad, I wanted both of my parents to be on board. So when I was called this year, April 30th of this year, to leave my full-time job, so I was working as a development manager. I've been a nonprofit for almost a decade. I was a development manager for 2 years, and I felt called to leave cold turkey. I sent in my 2 weeks notice literally 2 weeks before I quit or resigned, and to go into full-time entrepreneurship, where this is what I'm doing, full-time. I didn't have a contract lined up. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have 3 to 6 months, bills saved up or stored up. I didn't have any of that. I had a knowing that God is calling me to do this, and I had faith to know that He's not going to leave me out here blindly. That's all I had. So when things started happening, I was getting blessed in the midst of it. So that's how I knew that I was on the right path. But in the seasons where things weren't happening, my mom would say things like, "Hey, you think you might need to go apply for a job, or think you need to might go see what the market looking like." And I had to tell her, I said, "Mom, I know you're talking to me as a mother, and as a mother, you want to make sure that my livelihood is good. You want to make sure I have the money that I need to take care of my household. And I am a single income household. I live alone, so." As a mom, she wanted to do her best to make sure I had what I needed financially. I told her, if I need you to take away mom and just be my faith partner. I said, because my faith is not going to be up here all the time. So I need you to remind me of my why. I said, every time that I did try. I sent in applications and everything. I was, humbly speaking, very qualified for the jobs that I was applying to. And I would not get them. I wouldn't get a call back. I even had things like, "You're overqualified." What does that even mean? So God was constantly telling me, "No, I already told you what to do. Like, I just need you to trust me." So him having that conversation with me, I needed the people to trust the God in me to understand that this was bigger than all of us, but we have to trust together. So having that, I would say, parents, educators, if somebody comes to you with a dream, don't shut that dream down. It might not make sense. 1 + 1 might not equal 2. It just might not. But give them that support that they need. Even if you don't believe it, at least believe it for them, and give them that. Fake that until you make it, But because you never know what that discouragement could do to them. So that would be my advice.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? You look like you got a question.
Nah.
You look like you want to raise your hand, but you got it down.
I'm just doing my job.
But he is an entrepreneur. You don't have no questions? I know you came here for cuz, but as an entrepreneur, it had to be something that,
I'm taking everything in. So,
Okay.
I'm very impressed, I'm just taking everything in.
Okay.
And might use that to my business, so.
Right, there you go. Okay. So what are the proper channels to do as far as an entrepreneur? What are the proper channels besides finding, like you said, a mentor or someone to support you? What are the proper channels?
Structure your business properly. And when I say structure your business properly, meaning if you're a nonprofit, there's a process to get your 501c3, both state and federally. If you're an LLC, there's a process for that as well, sole proprietorship, and know the difference from a tax standpoint. And that is something that, please do not ask me, because that's not my specialization, but I have some people that you can go to that will listen to your goals and where your financial expectations are and projections are, and then help you properly set yourself up for that. Yeah, I would say that's the first thing, to get legal or on paper, because you're going to need your business license, an active business license. Right? You're going to need insurance, active insurance. So I have that paperwork good would be the next channel.
I have a question, I have a comment. I like what you said about even if you don't have everything in place, just start. Because when I started my nonprofit, what my hesitancy at the beginning was because I didn't have this in place, or I didn't have that in place. And then people would be like, "You're not ready yet, don't do it." And one day I was just sitting in the room and I had written all this stuff. I knew what my vision was, right? Like, I had the vision, I knew what I wanted to do. I was sitting in the room and I said, "Man, I'm just going to do it." Like, I'm just going to step out there and I'm going to do it and let God take it from there, right? And that's what I did. I sat down, I talked to a lawyer, I got everything in place that I needed to have in place, and I just stepped out there. And in the beginning, it was tough. It just, in the beginning, I would have those moments where I'm like, man, this is right now. I don't know if I should just step out here. It's hard. Because in Delaware, and being in the behavioral health field, in Delaware, a lot of it is who you know.
Yes.
Right? And that makes it difficult when you just starting out, and especially when you small, it's difficult to navigate because you don't have these partnerships, these relationships, and you got to really build. It took me 2 years to get my first contract, and because I had to go, I had to show up everywhere, and I would just have flyers and brochures, and I'll just be handing them out and talking to people and just talking. And sometimes you just have to just go. If you know what your vision is, you believe in your vision, just go with it, right? And God will take you where you need to go, and just get out of your own way. So, and I like that. It's just, you don't have to have everything perfect and ready right now. That will come because you're going to end up connecting with the right people, and that's what I did. And it just took me one person. I happened to do a conference, and one person heard me out of the 400 people there. One person heard me and reached out to me a month later and said, "Hey, I want to offer you a contract to do this." And I was like, "Oh man!" And it just kept going from there, right? So I love that. You don't need everything perfect, and I tell people, man, just do it. Just do it. Don't put your vision in the hands of somebody else. You know what you want to do. Just jump out there and do it, and you'll be surprised if you have faith and you got patience. It happens, and it's a lot of hard work. If you're afraid of hard work, don't do it. But it's a lot of hard work, and you have to keep putting yourself out there. I've heard more no's than I heard yeses, but it only took that one to get everything going, right? So I love that. I love that. You don't have to be ready. Just do it.
Now I'll just add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just was making a little comment.
Yeah.
I commend each and every one of y'all that stepped out on faith. But I'm like your mom, I need a 9 to 5. I need a paycheck every week.
Oh, I got a 9 to 5.
I don't trust us sometimes. They don't want to pay. I need that 9 to
5. To your point, that's why I say entrepreneurship is truly something that you have to feel called to do. And there's phases. Sometimes it's having the 9 to 5 and your business on the side. Sometimes I would say when people say you're not ready, you're not, but you are. Everything, how I try to think, every space that I'm in, I'm a sponge. I'm supposed to learn something. For whatever reason, I didn't stay at jobs long, maybe 2 years. And what I learned now in retrospect is I learned what I needed to learn there, then I needed to move on. Then I developed a new skill, learned what I needed to do there, then I moved on. So I was constantly absorbing everything I would need for this day and time where I am running my own business. I was a development manager. I was a program manager. I worked in compliance and ordinance. I worked in contracts. So everything that I needed logistically and internally, I have had those roles in the past. And to my point earlier about putting yourself out there, and I know you said 2 years, I understand sometimes we're the exception. And I say that respectfully, not to my power, but to God's power. When I started my business, it was 4 months before a global pandemic where your Fortune 500s, your mom and pop, shops were literally shutting down because they couldn't financially withstand the pandemic or pandemic hardships. I tripled my income in the middle of a pandemic by one decision. I decided to have a march in Milford, Delaware, to bring awareness to police brutality, to injustices that was happening. Someone saw that a young girl was able to bring over 500 people to a small town who's very conservative and very diverse people at that. No drama. Mayor walked with us. Police chief walked with us. They actually shut down the streets themselves, did things beyond. Giant opened up their parking lot to us. How did this one girl do all of that? They contracted me to bring community engagement down in Sussex County because they were having a hard time engaging those folks. One decision. And I just wanted to get involved and do my part. That was it. So also, when I was out of college, I was volunteering for spaces. I was organizations that I wanted, whether it was my field is social justice and mental health. So I started volunteering in those spaces. The same organizations that I was volunteering for became my clients now. just because I was putting in the work. I always say, I know we talk about politics. Your campaign, you don't have to be a politician to have a campaign. Your campaign doesn't start during election season. It starts in the community. You should be in the community doing your work, making the connections, talking to the people, collecting the resources, and then those opportunities present themselves. So another thing, we got our nonprofit status January 23rd of this year, received the letter in March. Mind you, this is also time where nonprofits are merging, shutting down, pivoting. I'm a very vocal mental health and social justice organization who was able to pull in over 6 diverse forms of funding through contracts, state, federal, grants, foundation grants, to have someone call me and say, hey, I just want to give you some money. I heard you out on your own. I know the work that you're doing. My point is, when you're called, that's why I say you have to be called. Anybody can. Jamila Mustafa said this, good things come to those who wait, great things come to those who work. Anybody can, the Bible says many are called, few are chosen. Anybody can do entrepreneurship, but when you're called, it doesn't matter what global things are going on, it doesn't matter what local and national things are going on, you are the exception where God will sustain you and protect you, even amidst all of those things. That's why I said when people invite me to come talk about entrepreneurship, I don't know if they want me to talk, because I'm not giving you your textbook definition, because I truly, truly believe that my steps were ordered by the Lord, and that's why I'm able to be as successful as I am, depending on who you're asking.
That's awesome.
Yes. So Jalen, just tell us a little bit, give you a little bit of background.
Sure. So my name is Jalen Powell. I'm the CEO and founder of Out Loud. Out Loud DE is our nonprofit where we do youth programming that focuses on mental health and wellness, education and advocacy, and then social justice. So healing is a form of resistance. So we focus on trauma and how that shows up. And then we don't take the place of the brandies in the world, but we do work alongside of them to do your non-traditional or unconventional pathways to wellness. We hold skates wellness in the skating rinks across the state of Delaware. We have paint nights. We have bi-monthly meetings where men will meet amongst each other, and then women will meet amongst each other. Jvonne has been one of our speakers for some of our sessions and has attended. And then on the consultant side, what we do is we help nonprofits get funding. So we are strategic storytellers where we work everything from proposal to final report. And a lot of organizations who don't have the experience writing grants or having a hard time pivoting this climate, we help them navigate that process so they're still able to secure funding. A little bit about me personally. Went to Delaware State University, got my bachelor's in poli-sci. I went to Regent and got an advanced track master's in law, and then I'm a doctoral candidate for transformative social change at Saybrook, where I'm studying how historical and generational trauma shows up in Black people, Black women specifically, focusing on high functioning anxiety and depression.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, we thank Miss Jalen Powell.
Make sure it's okay.
Right. That is awesome. Yes, information reach our.
Yes.
All right, and then our last panelists are financial literacy, and that is Miss Jvonne Oliver and
JJ.
JJ. Oh, okay. All right, y'all can come forward. So the panelists before us, they just have ideas to determine the dialogue with the audience. We choose in an area which you want to speak on, so that myself can give the questions and then they give the answers. So the introduction to this is financial literacy is a cornerstone of personal and professional success in the modern world. As financial systems and products become more complex, it is vital for individuals to possess the knowledge and skills to make informed decisions about learning, spending, saving, investing, and protecting assets. When hosting a panel on financial literacy, the quality and depth of questions addressed to panelists can shape the discussion, inform the audience, and inspire positive action. So below there are going to be some questions that I'm going to ask, and it's from diverse backgrounds in finance and education. They're suitable for the panels.
Sarah, we gotta read that whole thing.
Oh, I did shorten it. So,
Okay.
So the first question is, how do you define financial literacy, and why is it important than ever in today's economic climate? Ms. Jvonne.
I define financial literacy as empowerment. And I say that because I'm a financial center manager at Fulton and Millsboro. And so each day I get the pleasure to go to work and help people, right? And so it's empowering. To understand money is empowering all by itself. To understand how to budget, where does my money go? How do I save my money is empowering. And so once you learn how to become empowered with your money, it just helps make better decisions in your life, in your neighborhood, in your communities. I think right now we all can understand that the climate now with higher egg prices, everything is higher, uncertainty of health insurance. So all of that plays a part in understanding the basics, right? And unfortunately, they don't do financial literacy in schools anymore. So we're not teaching the small ones. And so they have to rely on behaviors of what they've seen and how they've seen other people spend money. So I think it's just knowing the basics, right? Like financial literacy sounds real important, real high. It's really not. It's about saving, and it's about knowing where my money goes. It's being able to distinguish my want from my need, and understanding how to better spend it all.
So, JJ, I have a question for you. What practical strategies do you recommend for individuals and families to create and maintain a budget?
The first thing is analyzing your finances. One of the things that I did before I transitioned out of the branch into lending is doing a review of pull your statements. I tell people all the time, pull your bank account statements, because a lot of times with debit cards, all these electronic transactions, we don't see where it's going. We just tap my phone, I tap my card, I'm moving on. But if you actually pull your statements and you look through that month, what I actually spent my money on, you start there. Once you can figure out where the bulk of your money is going, for me it's always food. But I do indeed like to eat, like Jalen. And so once you understand where your money is going, then you can set up a budget. I always tell people, there are so many free templates, worksheets online. Use one of those and say, okay, I know this is how much I bring home. Not what they tell you made, that's after taxes, health insurance, what you brought home each month. This is what I brought home. How can I use that money more wisely? If you have children, like myself, I'm a single parent. So because I'm a single parent, the bulk of my money, I'm like, okay, I have daycare, I have other things, my kids want to do extracurriculars. How can I make my money work for me? Instead of me just trying to I'm just going to pull at strings. So it's knowing. A lot of people don't, like she said, financial literacy is really simple. But if you don't know where it's going, you can't save it. Because it's not there because it's already left your account. So I encourage families and even couples, married couples, sit down, talk about your finances. One of the biggest challenges in branches and when you talk to people is one spouse may pass away and the other one has no idea what's going on. And that should never be the case. You guys should sit down and talk about your finances, talk about what's going on, what I'm spending on, what we need, what we don't need, where we can cut corners, and where we can kind of do things. And also with budgets, I always tell people, have fun. Do not use all your money to save and have bills and you will start to become angry and have all this anxiety. Have you a little pot. Every time I get paid, I have a little pot where I'm like, this is what I'm getting this time. Whether that's something that I want to eat, somewhere I want to go, I have a little fun money so that I don't feel like all my money is going just to bills or to other things.
Okay. All right, another question. This is about credit and debit management. Why is understanding credit scores and reports essential for financial health?
credit reports, reading a credit report is one of the biggest things you can understand. Because credit is not as hard as people make it out to be. And your credit report, although when you originally look at it, can be a little like, I don't know what all these numbers mean, I don't know what this letter means, I don't know what that means, but understanding what credit can do, understanding mixtures of credit, understanding the power of credit. Credit is not bad. Credit cards are not bad. Loans are not bad. It's how you use them. It's how you utilize these resources. So when you come in to see someone like Jvonne and you're like, hey, I need to buy a car. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to do these things, understanding what that looks like, being able to read your credit report, knowing what hits your credit report. I'm a big advocate, and I have alerts. So what I do is I have free alerts through Experian. Experian alerts me every time something hits my credit report, every time my credit score changes. I keep that as a back burner of, okay, I need to pay attention. So every month I'm like, okay, let me go look at it, make sure nothing is changed, everything, and making sure things are reporting correctly. Because sometimes everybody makes mistakes, whether that be a financial institution, something else, they make mistakes, and now you're 60 days behind on your mortgage, and you knew you paid it, but you never paid attention to your credit report. You never got those alerts. And also understanding that everything isn't for everybody at that time. Everybody talks about home ownership. I used to be a mortgage loan officer. Everybody's like, oh, go buy a house, go buy a house. Do not buy a house if you cannot buy a couch. Don't buy a house if you can't put food in the refrigerator in this house. I tell people, I had to tell so many people, no, not right now, because I would love to put you in a house, but that's all you will have. Is carpet, windows, floors, door. That is all you will have. And if you would like to enjoy your house and be able to sit there and you're not calculating each month, oh, if I pay my mortgage, I gotta eat oodles and noodles. If I pay my mortgage, I can't go do this. So understanding how to structure your debt, structure your loans. I structured my mortgage to the point where I started less than 80% LTV. I bought my house, I kept my house in the family, I bought my house for my dad. I also am currently sitting on $60,000 worth of equity. I've only had my house for 3 years because of the way that I structured my mortgage, the way that I buy cars, all of that. So it's just understanding credit. And if you don't understand, sit down with someone and say, okay, I'm not understanding my credit report. I don't know what's on there. You don't know how many people. I talked to a young man one time in the branch, and he was like, yeah, I have a couple student loans. I said, are you aware of how much you have in student loans? He was like, oh, it's not that bad. I said, you have over $100,000 in student loans. And he didn't know it was that bad because he's at school and he's just signing the papers. And they're telling him, oh, just sign, get your classes, sign these papers. Get your classes, sign these papers. And by the time it was all said and done, he's $150,000 in debt. I had a lady bought a house, and once you buy a house, everybody wants to give you credit cards. Everybody, when she was talking about holiday season, everybody wants to give you stuff. This lady was like, well, they were just telling me I could get it. 17 credit cards. Why do you have 17 credit cards? So I'm like, we're going to start closing those. Oh, don't close them. You're going to, nope. We're going to close some of these. You're going to be all right. We're going to close some of these today. So that it's just understanding how credit works and taking that time. And I'm really passionate about sitting one-on-one with individuals, even though I work more on the commercial side now with businesses, but it's taking time to just, hey, let me sit down and look at it with you. And let's figure out what we can do to make this better for you. Even preparing for retirement, preparing for those things, you can't just jump into retirement. Let's see how we can get your cars paid off, your house paid off, doing all of those things so that when you ease into retirement, if Medicaid changes, if SSI changes, all that, hey, you know what? I'm good because I've paid all these things off and I have a budget and I'm stable and I know what my credit score looks like.
Investing fundamentals. What basic investing principles should everyone understand regardless of income or background?
Again, investing is huge, and it doesn't have to mean that you jump into the stock market overnight. Like today, I'm going to buy stocks, and that's what I'm going to do. It's understanding what investments work for your pockets. So for me, it started with my 401k, and then it was me sitting down with the people who hold my 401k and understanding where to put that money, and that's my investment. My 401k, I moved it, and I got myself fully vested, and now that's sitting there. And I can move it to where I work now and continue to grow. But
because I'm not an investor and I don't know a ton about that area, but what it is utilizing those resources. When you get employed and they tell you they have a 401k at your job, or they have something that you can, or a pension that you're paying into, understand what that program looks like. Understand how to move your money around to make it grow. Understand your investment, because you have to be at a job for so long before you can take all of that money with you. Because if you leave before a certain time, you saying, oh, I got $60,000 here, and then you move it and it's only 30, and you're trying to figure out where the company keeps that money. And some people don't understand that. So understanding your investment opportunities, getting on, and YouTube is really good for some things, for investing and figuring out, okay, if I buy some Apple stock now while it's low, how do I then sell it? Learning the stock market, learning what the economy is doing, learning that there are ebbs and flows. Yes, eggs are expensive, but what can I do in the interim? They're not going to get cheaper, so I got to do something else, and that's investing your money and putting your money into sources, and then save your money. Everything doesn't need to go into some giant investment. Look for high yield savings accounts. Look for CDs, because a lot of times banks will have specials, especially during the holiday seasons. They'll do a 6-month CD with 2% return. Let me go throw $5,000 in there, let that grow for 6 months. Since I haven't touched it and I'm not missing it, let me move it to something else that's a little long term. And then you can continue to build wealth from there. So look for those things that, hey, it may not be like stocks, but my certificate of deposit is doing really well. And now I've saved $15,000 with a high yield savings account or something like that, and understanding where to move that money and keeping your account separate. I'm a big proponent of high yield savings accounts. And I'm a big proponent in investing. When you invest and you're looking at savings, is having separate accounts. I didn't mean at two separate financial institutions. There's money that I save in one place that I have no cards to, and there's another that's my active one. Because if I have access to all this money, I'm gonna use it. You're gonna find some reason to spend that money.
One of the things I could just add is that when we think about if your employer has where they match your 401k, that's a great opportunity. So if you put in 1%, they match another 1%, take advantage of that. That's almost easy. I don't want to say free money, nothing's ever free, but take advantage of that match that they have, right? That's just another way to do it. And one of the things that I've had the opportunity to share information with is sometimes if your employer, if you get a raise, you get a bonus, right? The initial innate thing is let me go buy something. Put it in a high yield, like right now Fulton has a 4-month CD. There you go, 4 months. 4 months, and it's gonna be APY is 4 something. So there's an opportunity right there. You can take that raise and now invest it where it can save you more money versus the innate of the difference between wanting something and having the opportunity to save for the future.
So with the CDs, can you, like, if I want to do one for my grandkids, am I able to do that?
You can. Are you speaking of titling it, or are you speaking of just want to go get a 4-month CD? So you can go into the branch, I want a 4-month CD. Now sometimes for a higher yield, they're going to ask for a higher deposit, right? So sometimes the higher the yield, the higher the deposit's going to be. Sometimes it can either range from $5,000 to $10,000. We have some that start at $1,000.
Okay.
And also, when JJ was talking about different financial institutions, some will give you a higher rate, but they call it new money.
Okay.
So new money says it's coming from somewhere else. So if I have my accounts at Fulton and I want to go to M&T, they're going to say, well, for various reasons. And so I get the opportunity, and I often talk about it, of living out my dash, right? There's a poem by Linda Ellis. It's called The Dash. So we all have a born date, and then we all have a date, because this earth is temporary. And so what do you do with that dash in between? And so the opportunity that I have as a financial center manager is I have the opportunity to go to things just as this event right here, where I get to talk about it, where you go to schools, because not all schools are sharing financial literacy to the level that we may have gotten a few dollars and cents when we were in school. So going to churches, going to those places, because oftentimes technology's changed. Most of the youth now don't go into a bank and make out a deposit slip. They do it from their phone, right? Mobile banking. They can they deposit their checks from a phone now, or they stop to an ATM. So meeting people where they are. So going to the schools, and I just sat and took a lot of notes when Khalil was speaking of like, what opportunity do we have to take financial literacy and partner with him to help those that have been away for 5 or 10 or 20 years, to help them re-engage them with understanding what does it look like to open up a checking account? What's the difference between a checking and a savings account? What's a CD, right? We say some might not even know what a CD is, a certificate of deposit. And so those are the barriers that you have to break down one event at a time, one conversation at a time. And Fulton Forward has, so not only do I get to personally do it, but as a representation of Fulton Bank, I have the opportunity to say, to put our Fulton Forward. It's an initiative that Fulton has, where we do affordable, we have 4 pillars. And so it's affordable housing and home ownership. It's workforce development and job training, financial education, and just the inclusiveness of bringing everybody together. Because, you know, once you are mentally well, financially well, and the families well, then communities, neighborhoods just runs much smoother.
And also wanted to add that also these barriers start at home. So it's our job as adults and as parents to learn financial literacy and start our kids early on the value of a dollar and the value of money. Because when you don't, and I can say that because that's something that my parents did. When my parents made large financial decisions, although I didn't have a say, I was included. My parents went through a time where they paid all their credit cards off. My dad would do bills every month, and he would sit me down with him and say, this is how I paid bills. This is how, I was writing checks at 10. I could write out a check at 10. I was going, you know, my mom would say, write me a check, I'll come sign it. Just go write it, go grab a checkbook, you can write it out. I could write out checks. I could do all of that because my parents sat down with me and explained this is, and in our community, we gotta stop. Sometimes as parents, we don't want our kids to suffer because some things that we've been through, so we just do. I'm gonna just do for you so you know. But part of that is saying, hey, I don't got it, and this is why. And this is why we're not doing it, because we can't keep spending, like I told my daughter, no to a football game. Great, it's fantastic. But $6 adds up if we going every week.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You want to go, you want to bring a friend, you want to bring your sister. Listen, money does not fall from the sky for me. I work very hard every week to make sure that we live the life that we live. So understanding that starts in the home. And just like Khalil was saying, everything starts with our kids and with us talking. And what Brandy said, talking, having those conversations. Like, how are you doing? Mom, I want to do this. Okay, you do want Jordans, and that's fantastic. I love that for you. But how much do Jordans cost?
Yeah.
And while we're out here buying Jordans, what could you get with this $150 that I'm about to drop on sneakers? What else could we get? So I budget my kids, even for school clothes. You got $75. You better make it work. And that's what I tell them. Like, this is your budget. You got to make it work. I don't talk to them about what they're getting. They have parameters, but this is your budget. Make it work. And creating those habits helps them understand. All right, I want all of these things, but I could get more if I spend money over here and do these things.
So the next question is technology and financial literacy. How is technology changing the landscape of personal finances, and what does this mean for financial literacy education?
It's changing it. I think it has pros and cons. Just personal experience just as yesterday. So again, you now can take your check and deposit it into the ATM machine. That's good, that's great. if you make sure you put your 2 zeros, if your check is $674 and a customer did $6.74. So we have this conversation of, now how does it work, right? So it was good if he was able to put 674, but he put $6.74. So it's not automatic that I can go in the ATM machine and get it for him. So that's a con. But also technology allows you to put alerts, like JJ said, it can give you alerts, you're below this balance, you've had this many transactions. The other piece to technology that we have to be careful about is online shopping. Right? So everybody loves to shop online, it's convenient, right? Bezos got a gold mine, right? Amazon's a gold mine. But you also have to be careful and understand, am I using my debit card when I'm online shopping? Or am I using a credit card? So if you're using a debit card, and a lot of times when you go online and you type in Macy's, the very first Macy's you see probably is not Macy's. So you probably got to scroll a couple down to get the true Macy's. But for those that don't, click Macy's, nice pair of boots, use my debit card, it's not Macy's. So now the funds that you need for your everyday living are tied up until we get through the process of the banking to get you provisional credit or to understand that it was fraud and to be able to reclaim the funds. So it's always a good suggestion, and I always say, have a credit card. Doesn't have to have a large limit, but just have a credit card that you use. So if you should click on the wrong Macy's, then it's those funds that you're waiting to be replenished and not your everyday living that you have. JJ talked about budgeting. There's a ton of great apps for budgeting. Another kind of con to having the technology is you have the Cash App, you have Chimes, and those are great and serves purposes, but you should always encourage everyone to establish a relationship with a bank, right? Establish that relationship. Get the checking account, get the savings account. They can help you with savings. They can help you succeed when you go to look for a loan. They can help you understand what it takes to get a mortgage. All of those things you want to do is establish, because Cash App comes with price, but it doesn't allow you to totally understand financial literacy, right? It doesn't totally give you the full picture of having a checking account, of having a savings account, knowing the difference. Plus, it's super easy to use and lose track of it with that technology piece. So I think those are some of the barriers with technology, but also some of the good things that come with technology, right? Now most banking applications have it that if you misplace the card, because we all have that panic moment, where's my card, that we can lock it. Now we can go in and lock it until we find it, that it was left in a pocket or a coat pocket. We can do that. If we're traveling, it now allows us to notify the bank on our app that we're traveling. So if they see that you're in Texas, like, that's unusual activity. So there's some really great things with technology. And when we think about the younger generation, they don't have the traditional going to the bank. It's all, I can open my account online. Those are all the things you can do online now. There's several banks that are just online only banks. You're not able to go in person.
So, and I also say with technology is social media. A lot of people, please don't go to TikTok University for financial literacy, because I've had a ton of people tell me, oh, no, I could do that. Like, and I'm like, no, you can't. So with social media, just take it in strides, and also be careful what you post on social media, because what you don't realize is that there's so much, like, you're sitting there buying coffee, you laid your card on the table, your coffee cup, I'm gonna take a picture of my coffee. Your card is still sitting there. Now I'm just expanding it. I got your card number. I don't really need much else to kind of make it work for me. So being conscious of what you're posting, conscious of what you do, like, certain things just attract fraud. So you have to be careful of what you post, what you're doing. If you're always going on elaborate trips and you just do, somebody gonna find you. So you have to be, conscious of that. And building a relationship with the bank is not only important for an individual, but if you are a business owner and you do not have a relationship with the financial institution that holds your commercial account, you need to do that immediately. Make sure you're sitting down. You know who the commercial loan officers are. You know who your commercial bankers are. You know what products they offer. Because as an entrepreneur, it's harder for me to show you that I can make money. I know what I'm doing. I know what this is going to work, but a lot of banks work in the black and white. Well, you're not making no money, but I can tell you. But if I had a relationship with you and I come to you and I sit down, oh, I know you're a good person. You know what I mean? I know you've been working on this. You have great ideas. Now I can do that lending that I need and get the support that I need, because like you said, Jalen, sometimes the funding isn't there and you need a loan or you need some support from a financial institution, and building those relationships, whether it be individual or as a business owner, is very important.
How can we make financial literacy more engaging and accessible to people who may not seek it out on their own?
I think by making it fun and not making money scary. Money's not scary, it's a fantastic thing. But when people are afraid, that when you live in a poverty mindset, so a lot of times in these communities, this is all we have, so I gotta hold on to it. And showing people that there's freedom, not that you have to have millions of dollars to achieve that freedom, but that the money that you have, there's so much freedom in that. And teaching people the freedom of having that, and that you can do whatever you would like, but let's grow and understand it and make it fun. Money doesn't have to be like something weird sitting up at night about and things like that. Things will go wrong. You will have to spend money. You will have down times and up times, but I think just making financial literacy fun.
I think it's just taking financial literacy to the people. I think that's it. It's just taking it to the people, right? And then starting with the little ones. I think that's the greatest opportunity, is starting with the little ones. I mean, you know, with social media being as it is, and you know, they see all the things of the money, the cash, the cars, the jewelry. I think sometimes they think, oh, well, that's what money, right? Like when you go to the TikToks and the Facebook, you don't necessarily see the businesses or the houses or the homes, right? You see the jewelry and some of the other things that I think sometimes may skew what really financial literacy can be.
I want to just speak because the thing about celebrity status, sometimes when they're getting started, they're using money they don't really have, and I don't. And you know, it influences the young minds because it's really not as cut and dry as they see it.
Right.
And why aren't you seeing the homes? Because most likely they don't got one. So what it is a facade. Because what you're doing is you want people to think that you have something that you don't have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, people run after that. Because look how, I mean, like I lived in Atlanta for 10 years, and anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 people move to Atlanta a month.
Wow.
So it's not like they're coming because they already have the success. They're running after something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it is more to it than just I can sing, I can act. Because I've seen models, I've seen actresses, I've seen those celebrities. They working hard to be where they are. And it's not as easy as people think. It's just not. I mean, it's a cliquish city. And I know, I mean, I won ATL's Hottest Makeup Artist in 2022, but I was nominated 2 times prior to that. I mean, it was hard because I had to get in the clique. But I ain't a clique person, you know what I'm saying? So again, you have to change your mind. Like what she was saying, you know, she's around people because that's what she has to do. But then once you leave, so it's like, I had to get out of that mindset. Like, I ain't being nobody clique. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. It's crazy with this money thing and what the young folks are running after, and they'll run after that, but they won't really put the hard work in to make something of their own.
And people don't understand with celebrities too. A lot of stuff they get is for free or is for promotional.
Right.
So you put somebody on the red carpet in Versace you notice every time somebody, they're walking, hey, what are you wearing? What are you doing? It's a promotional. They take that stuff off and they gotta get that stuff
Give it
back.
back.
Give it back. Come on, that's what I'm saying.
It's not going. Them shoes ain't going in the little boxes back in their closet. It's for me to go out. A lot of times with these influencers, so YouTube stars, so they're not like your actors, singers, but they're YouTubers, and they're giving stuff, boxes, promotional items, so that they can say, hey, look at, makeup, for example. Look at this promotional box that I got. It has all this stuff, but what they don't realize, this mascara is $20-something. Now, I can help you out because the mascara is $4 and it works just as well. I can find you something if you need it.
Yeah.
But that's a part of knowing what and knowing yourself and knowing what's out there. So if there's things that you like, research. Hey, I do like to do my face every once in a while, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not spending an arm and a leg, but how can I go to Ulta or how can I go to Target or something like that and put some stuff together that makes me, okay, I look good and people are like, oh, you look, yes, I know. $10, let me tell you. I can make it work. So that's what I tell people, you don't have to spend an absorbent amount. I am not big on labels. My kids tell me all the time, people are like, do you own any shoes that got, no, I don't. I don't own shoes that got labels on it. Every once in a while they pop up, but I'm just not into that. And as a culture, as Black people, we have to get out of this label mindset. Like, oh, everything got to be a label. Everything got to, no. Listen, I look just as cute.
Come on now, right there.
Just as nice.
Yeah.
And my whole outfit could have cost me $20, $25 tops, right?
Yeah.
But it's how you put yourself together. Like you were saying with young ladies, it's how you put yourself together. I can teach you how to put yourself together with less money. My mom used to, and people used to make fun of me, my mom used to dress me and I'd be all cute, thinking I'm in a full suit in church, full suit. Down here, like with the little shoes. But my mom taught me how to dress so that I knew, like, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but I still look nice.
Yeah.
And that's that poverty mindset too, that I gotta look the part, but I don't really have the money.
Right.
Just to rebuttal there, I will say females can do that. Man, we can't do that all the time. I can't go Walmart. Y'all can.
And I'm only saying that because I am the only girl. I have 4 brothers and my dad. And let me tell you, I can get you, listen, guys, you stick with me. I can get you some places. I can get you some ties, some shirts.
Me too.
I can listen.
See, y'all can buy shoes about name brand. I can't do that.
But I'm telling you, and it's also about
I need Tim, not Tim.
That's what he said.
But also it's about pieces. So sometimes we invest in a piece. So I might invest in a nice shirt, nice button-down shirt. So I'll get you one better. You invest in a nice pair of pants, nice shirt. Tie, maybe not be as expensive, and we put you together with a jacket. You look just as nice, but you got pieces. Now I can take these pieces and I can put it with another jacket, shirt, and tie. I can take
That's
these
my
shoes
life.
and move them around. So sometimes it's about pieces. Sometimes it's about little things that you can change. Same thing with home decor. It's about pieces. I can get a nice piece of art. I can put that on the wall, but my couch, I might have to, listen, I'm going to bargain with you. Don't go shopping with me. I'm not the one, if you want to spend money, don't go shopping with me. Because I'll be telling you, I'm not paying that. So it's about those things that make it look nice, but you don't have to spend a bunch of money.
That's it.
I'm big on, and I coupon. Let me tell you. Get you a coupon.
I have a coworker who always, she says it all the time. She says, you never wear the same thing twice. Oh, yes, I do.
You just piece it together.
Change it.
Piece it together.
I sure do.
A guy told me that in church. He said, man, you think, I was like, man, you fly.
Yes.
It'd be the jacket be different.
Yes.
But be different pair of pants on. You know what I mean? You change the shirt up. But Steve Harvey got this thing out where he said you can buy 5 suits.
Yes.
Maybe 70 suits or something
Yes.
like that.
Women can do it too. Women can do it too.
A neutral color, and then you just switch everything.
Switch it all up.
I'm telling you, there are ways to save money where you don't feel like I'm in the out crowd, or I don't look as nice, or I don't, for me, it's like, okay, if I have somewhere to go, I budget for those things. I don't just go and say, okay, if I know I got a gala, I know I got to buy a dress. Now, certain instances for me, I don't wear the same thing twice to major events, just because there's pictures.
Right. Somebody see you. Somebody can't see me.
Somebody had to switch it up.
Too much social media.
Budget for those things that you want. You know that Louis Vuitton is dropping a bag that you really want. Budget for it. What can I save till I get here? Or if there's a pair of shoes, if they're Jordans or a nice pair of dress shoes that you want, budget for those things. Doesn't mean that you can't have them. Doesn't mean, but you don't go out of your way to just, I'm gonna spend money so I look nice. You can budget your outfits. I budget for seasons. We go to school. We got Christmas. And I've learned to make things even for my kids with Christmas. My kids, you look under my tree, we ain't out here like Oprah giving gifts. You get a gift, no. My girls have always, they get like a together gift, so it learns them to communicate things like that. And I did one year, I did a scavenger hunt. My kids got like 6 things, but I hid it around my house, I decorated. They got little notes along the way, and it made, my daughter is 16 and still asks for a scavenger hunt for Christmas. Because I made it work for my budget. I may not have been able to afford the bigger things that year, but I moved stuff around the house and made it fun. And there's ways to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Listen, Dollar Tree, I got them all different color bags, got them all different color, like the little string stuff, like the paper you put in there. And they knew this is my color. So every time they got to a place in the house, this is my bag. This is what's in here. You know what I mean? And then they go to another place in the house and, oh, this is my bag. This is what I got. And by the time they're done with that, they're like, oh, let's eat. We good now. Like, we're running around the house. We just have breakfast. And I just saved myself a whole bunch of money.
I need to talk to my daughter then, because she must think I'm rich. She asks small stuff. Hey, I'm 16, can I get a car? A car?
Yeah, my daughter still does that. And my kids think, they're like, oh, well, Mom, why don't we just go out? I want a Jeep. I want this. I'm like, let's talk about what it means to have a car. Because that's what I had to explain to my 16-year-old. Yeah, you bought this car, you have a car payment, but you have car insurance. You gotta put gas in it. You gotta maintain it. So, and that's even as adults, sometimes we go out, we buy these cars and then don't think about maintenance. We don't think about, you put yourself in a Benz, but now you gotta go do the oil change on that Benz, and it's not cheap. You gotta go get new tires for this Benz, and now you can't, now you rolling around on bald tires because you can't afford the tires. So instead of looking at it just, this is the car that I want, like my dream car is a G-Wagon, I said, I'm gonna get there. Built brand new. But when I went to go look for my car now, I looked at, okay, these are the things that I want. This is what I'm willing to spend, and then what does that maintenance look like for that car? I bought the maintenance package because now I get oil changes with my maintenance package for the next 3 years. They'll rotate my tires. These are things that are expensive. Tire rotations can cost you $100 a pop, and you're supposed to do it every time you get your oil change. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So,
What's the G-Wagon?
a Mercedes. I'll show you a picture.
$500,000.
You gonna want one too.
Old school high.
But those are, like I said, finances can be a good thing, and there's ways to get around things and to do things that you. The things with smaller kids, finding programs where they're doing free stuff, taking them to little things. Like my kids love these little fall festivals and stuff. Listen, let me tell you, we going. I did school book bag drives one year. They had 3 book bags apiece. Listen, we going to all this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So finding little things that you can do that you can entertain your children, you can entertain yourself, and you're not spending a bunch of money. Or you can go out and do these trips and you can plan ahead of time. So like I'm already planning for my 40th birthday because I know I want to go to Greece. Because I want to go, I have to plan for that. Because my daughter also graduates from high school that year. And some other things are going on. So I have to plan accordingly. So it's planning. Finances is all about pre-planning. Planning that out. Having those conversations with your financial institution, coming and sit down with her and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. Right. This is what I want to do. How do I get there? She has a lot of information. You can sit down with her for 30 minutes and probably figure out a whole bunch of stuff that you want to do. I used to sit with people all the time, and people be like, "Oh, I'm always in overdraft. We cutting your overdraft today. I'm not gonna make it. You gonna make it." This lady came back to me a month later and was like, "You know, I still haven't turned my overdraft back on." I said, "We're gonna turn it off because I promise you, you can do it. You just don't think you can do it. But we gonna turn it off today. Sign the paper because you don't need to live like this. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. You don't have to live where you're always constantly overdrafting your accounts or trying to do these things. You don't have to live like that." And finances is one of the biggest things for marriages, for families, things like that. Don't argue. Let's figure out how to tackle this together.
Why did the banks create overdrafts?
Because it's
For people like
Well,
me. People like me.
It's accountability. It's accountability.
It's fee income.
I was gonna say, it's fee income.
And
It's
that's how
fee income.
I get paid.
But
But
it's
there
accountability.
There is, so it's two-part, right? So a bank is there to make money. So it's fee income, but also it allows the opportunities when people make mistakes,
Correct.
right? So people can responsibly overdraft, but then you also have overdraft protection, right? Where we can say, so let's put this in place. Let's put a parachute for you. Call it a parachute. So if you should overdraft your checking, because sometimes mistakes happen, right? So we'll charge you $12 to move it from your savings to your checking, but it's less than the $35 if I have to return it.
It's $12.
It can be.
I thought it was fine because I do it all the time.
Five what? Overdraft
It's
fees?
fine, sir.
What's wrong?
We're proud that
He
you
must be
haven't overdrafted
stuck.
in a while because
I
that
ain't
number's
see-
increased. So we're proud of it.
I ripped it up when they come to my house because I thought it was $5.
No.
You're not-
Let's do it.
So you're not paying attention when you get the letter? That's
I
not a
look
letter.
at the letter. No, I look at the letter and I throw it away because I figure it ain't but $5.
No, it ain't $5.
No.
So
It's
it's
not-
not five, but just think about
I
that.
wonder if it's after, if you're doing it from your savings to checking, if it's after a certain amount of time, because you know you
Could
do get
be.
penalized.
You
after
should
that.
take and read the letter, though.
I never read.
I know that years ago it was 25. If I'm not mistaken, it's
So
about 35
So,
now.
No, I got overdraft protection.
but again,
Oh, that's why you
so-
don't know.
Yeah.
But you should take an opportunity to meet with your banker, right? Because there's a pattern and a habit that she may be able, or he may be able to help you not receive those letters in the mail. Because that $5 is adding up. That's a Roadhouse. That's dinner at Texas Roadhouse, right? So you're losing money. So you should take an opportunity to read the letter.
I just throw it away. I'm like,
Go meet with your banker. They can help you, I'm sure.
Look at your statement.
Look at your statement.
Pull your statement from last week.
Because at
and I
the
want
end
you
of
to
the
look at
month, all of
charges.
those $5 should be showing you.
Yeah.
And then
We're
add those
talking
$5
once a month
up.
or-
No, I mean, it probably once a month, but I mean, because I have money. I use my checking account just for bills, right? But sometimes I might keep a couple $100 in there just, you know what I mean, for whatever. And I use it. And sometimes I go over and they'll send me the overdraft protection. I know what it is. And don't ever look at it, read it. I just throw it away. Because
So
I ain't no $5.
where's it pulling the money from?
My checking. Oh, my growth, my money market.
Oh.
Yeah, you also want to be careful.
You also want to be careful with your money markets. The money market says you can't,
Limits to where you
there's limits of how many times you should pull from your money market.
And then you'll be charged for
Each
that.
month.
I'm going there Monday morning. Oh, $5. I'm like, $5.
Dinner at Texas
It's like
Roadhouse.
$12.
You could have took somebody on a date by now.
That's got to be affecting his pattern or what you call it,
Credit.
credit.
No, it ain't no credit. No.
So the things about your checking and savings is it doesn't necessarily affect your credit unless they charge off an account. So if they charge off an account, that sometimes, depending on the financial institution, that will hit your credit report, which you don't want to have.
No, that never hit my credit report. I check on that.
But no, you need to go to the bank.
Stop doing it.
Yeah.
Immediately. 2, pull your bank statements for the last 2 months, and I want you to see what you've been pulling. 3, you need to be very careful with money markets. Like you said, normally the limit is 6 pulls per month, before it starts charging you, and you could get fees per pull, depending on the financial institution. And then you just gotta. That's what I said. You have to know what's in your account. I check my bank account. I'm probably a little OCD. Like 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, did I use it today?
And I don't. And sometimes.
Just in
just thought
At least
I said, oh, wow.
So, in answer to your question, so it's not necessarily hitting his credit, but his bank on the back end is probably saying if he, depending on how many times he's doing it, they may allow him to continue to do it because they're getting fee income from it. So, I mean,
Stop paying your
there's
bank.
definitely a pattern, which is why I said to him, there's a pattern. So, if he has a conversation, maybe it's the time of the month, maybe it's sporadically, but they can help him better manage or provide him some applications or some tools to help him reduce the amount of $5.
Also, from a lending standpoint, when you go to a financial institution looking for money and you're old, they're looking at your past. They're going into your accounts, and it may not affect you credit-wise as far as the way you're using it, but it could affect you on if you get approved for a loan or not. Because sometimes the relationship that you have with your bank, well, you always in overdraft.
But
But no, that's not what she's saying. Still,
But it doesn't matter because you're always overdraft shows poor money management. Is what it sometimes can indicate is that it indicates poor money management. So if you're coming to me for a car and you need $40,000 for this car, but I'm looking at your account and one, you don't hold a lot of money in my financial institution, and two, every time I turn around, something's pulling from somewhere and you just swiping your card. If I'm on the fence on giving you a loan because you got a decent score, but I might have to make some exceptions, I'm not always willing to make those exceptions because I'm looking at your account history.
Well, I'm glad you told me that because honestly, I am a good money manager, and I would just swipe my card because I just thought nothing would happen, but they're going to take $5. That's all I'm thinking. Now you told me that it could affect other things.
Yeah.
I'm going to check, but because with managing my money and paying bills, I'll pay bills way before time. I always manage money. I take money, put here. I got money for trips. I got money for saving. Different. I put it different places. But I just always never thought because I had credit draft protection for years, and when I first got it, it was $5. And I thought it was just $5.
no.
I didn't think else would happen. So
we'll check on you later in the week to see if it's changed, if it's increased more than $5.
I might do it. I might do it just because they didn't take no $5.
Those are the things where I tell people.
Oh my God! I can't believe I'm hearing this.
I had a house by there.
Right?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
How important is it to make fraud and being aware of scams a part of financial literacy?
It's very important, especially for the older population. It actually happened to my dad. And I told him, next time you call me, don't let them people get you. You call me. Especially for the older population. Not so much kids, yes, because sometimes they just get on and they're on TikTok and stuff like that. That's why we don't put our cards and stuff. We don't keep things, we let our children know, don't put stuff on the internet. But you really need to be aware because it happens more often than people think. And it's a simple swipe. I'm conscious when I go to the gas pump. I'm conscious when I look at stuff on the internet. If something, we have to teach that fraud is a thing, but also for our older population, it's more of a scare tactic. So a lot of times they'll get phone calls or letters in the mail saying, hey, you're not gonna get paid if you don't do this, and don't tell anybody, or don't do, you know what I mean? So we have to make more of our older generation aware of fraud and scams, because that's usually where it comes from. But overall, you just have to be aware. Like she said, even
So
with the
awareness,
Macy's was
right? So I mean, when we think about, we provide workshops for that, and I've actually had the pleasure for the last year that every month, the first Wednesday of the month, I partner with Chick-fil-A in Millsboro, and so we do bingo. And so we play a couple of games of bingo. We have some really cool prizes, but then also I get to provide some tips or some financial health awareness. And one of the months we talked about scams. So we have the scam where someone may call you and tell you to go buy gift cards, right? So that's been a recent one, where you go buy the gift cards, you come back, you peel off the back, you give them the information, now they're gone, right? Now, and even it was so prevalent that the retail stores moved and pulled some of the Amazon cards that were behind the counter. that you, or now they'll say to you, are you buying these gift cards for somebody? Does somebody buy you these gift cards? So that's a scam that's pretty, and it doesn't have an age limit on it with the gift cards. You also have the ones where it's the account takeovers, where you have someone that actually gets your identification, your social security number, some of your checking account numbers, and now they've actually taken over your account. We had a real life scenario where they had actually even gone in and her voicemail, they had put a message on her voicemail, set up an account with Verizon. So you have to be careful with those. The other one that we find sometimes more than we would like to see is wire transfers. Because you understand wire transfers is cash money. So if you come in and you do a wire transfer and it goes out, it's gone. And they're not small amounts that happen sometimes where they need to wire it, whether it's, they have the romance scams where you do the cash fishing, you think it's somebody, send me money. You also have the ones where they say your grandson, granddaughter, or child is in help, I need them. I'm in a foreign country, I need you to send money. So those are all scams. It's definitely one that you have to say no. And with technology being it is, people are now skimming off a number and they're calling saying they're your bank, calling from Fulton Bank, asking you for information. So some people think, oh, well, it's Fulton Bank, I should give them the information.
Well, so I had that experience a few days ago, and someone, because I put fraud alert on my bank account, right?
Right.
Because I'm consistent with the things that I purchase. Anything, I also have an amount. So any purchase over $300, you have to get my approval. So they'll send me a message. It's usually just a text message. Or can you approve this purchase, yes or no? And I'll put yes or no, right? And the person called me, said they was from the bank's fraud department. And I had never been called from the bank's fraud department before. Usually it's a text message. It's always a text message and they ask me yes or no. And I'm arguing with this guy over the phone because he was asking me about my credit card account. And I was like, all right, I'll lock the card and just keep it moving. I'll go to the bank in the morning. But then when he wanted to talk about my other accounts, it started making me mad, right? And I'll be honest, and I said this to somebody, if he'd have called me earlier today, he would have probably got me. The only reason that it turned into an argument because it was late at night, I was tired and I was hungry, and I really wasn't for it. Like I was very irritable because I get like that when I'm tired or hungry. So it was like it just turned into a big argument. I kept hanging up on him, he'd call back. I hang up on him, he'd call back.
And that's
finally,
another red flag.
Yeah, and I went to the bank the next morning because I was hot. So I'm like, man, they gonna stop calling me like that because they never did that before. When I talked to the people at the bank, they called the fraud department. I didn't know that every time that you have an account at the fraud department, they have to document it in your account, that account. And they kept saying, well, there's nothing here, right?
Right.
And they said, are you sure? And I gave them the number. I said, this is the number. It's the same number from the back of my card. He said, oh, yeah, that's a new scam that people were doing. I was like, well, when are you going to tell us? I mean, I've been in this bank for 2 hours. And they said it's a new scam where people call and say they from the bank because they want to give you, they want to get information. Then they'll take your because whoever it was on the phone locked me out of all my account, right? And I couldn't get access to anything. Wow. So and I'm in the bank, and we going back and forth. So they were like, they had to unlock everything so I can have access to it. But unfortunately they didn't get any money because he said I kept disconnecting the call. If I would stayed on there longer, they would have been able to get from my account. But because I kept hanging
the
up,
transmission has to be a certain amount of minutes.
They said it interrupted the whole thing, so they couldn't do it. And I'm like, when do the banks start sending out alerts to tell you to be aware? This is the new scam that's coming, right? And be aware of these scams because this may happen.
You know, it's an ongoing thing, right? Like we would love to be able to do that for every scam, but there's people that spend their day looking to do the opposite, looking to do bad and not good, right? And so we're playing catch up to every new scam that comes along. I would say general purposes, if your bank called and is asking you for information, your bank's not gonna call and ask you for information because they already have it, right? You just be like, oh, I'm good, thanks, no problem, I can go into the branch, or I'll call them back, or I'll handle it.
Well, the other thing y'all said earlier is another thing. Usually when I talk to, if I call on the phone, it's not an American that I'm talking to. It's either a machine or it's a foreigner. It's like one of them call center things, right?
Right.
So the fact that it was an American calling me really is what irritate me as well. Because most of the people that call, listen, man.
They broke the cycle.
Yeah. Because most of them they call, they have a heavy accent. It's hard to understand them.
Right.
This person was talking clear, and I was like, yo, stop calling me. I'm like, I don't know who this is. Because that wasn't my experience and it wasn't what I'm accustomed to. I'm usually accustomed to talking to, unfortunately, it's a foreigner at a call center that routes the call, or it's always an automated machine, right? And I don't think the person realized that. So they were just talking to me like we're talking right now, and it was driving me crazy because that's what my experience is. I'm accustomed to talking to a foreigner on the phone as it relates to any information, and they never ask me for my account information. Like, they never ask me, tell me your last 4 digits of your social. Like, I never have that, and I also have a safe word.
Yes.
So that's the other thing that made me hang up, because I asked them, what is my safe word? Because if I talk to them, they'll ask me the safe word. And when that person didn't know what the safe word was, it was just like, all right, I ain't got time for that stuff.
You know, and another one that we see often is they're on a computer, sometimes it's Facebook or whatever, and it pop up and says they Norton virus. They either do the antivirus or the Norton virus, and then they'll say, give us control of your PC. Now they have access to everything because you've given them control. You let them remote in. So those are another deal breakers.
Yeah, that happened to me too, but I got their behinds.
Don't let them remoting in, taking over control, because once they have control, now they can go in to your various applications. The one thing I always share with any of the clients that come in is make sure that your passwords, and I know it's a lot because we have a lot of different don't repeat the same password. Because if they get it right on one, then they be like, it's gold mine. So you gotta change it, add the numbers, flip it, reverse it. Also, don't use information they can get from Facebook. So don't put Pookie, don't put the teddy bear's name, especially information they can find that's on Facebook. You don't want to use that as a part of your password.
And so, and what fraud is, if it seems unusual, it probably is. So, like you pointed out, this is not something that normally happens to me. So that's the number one. Anytime you're dealing with something with fraud, it's normally outside of the scope. So normally people aren't calling you, badgering you, like, oh, you're using your card. Like, if that seems abnormal, I'm going to call my bank on Monday, or I'm going to call them in the morning and I'll figure it out. And then hang up. Yeah. If you call them and they say, oh, yeah, that was us, then you can take care of whatever business it was when you call later. It's not, you know, normally it's not going to make or break you. But if it seems unusual, that's what I usually tell people. If it seems unusual, it probably is. Fraud doesn't just happen with your accounts, it happens in lending too. So we try to tell people, especially when you buy new houses or you buy something new, that money, a deed is public information. When you buy a house, a deed is public information. I can go look up, because I know how to, but I can go look up all your property tax information. I just need first and last name. I found out where you live, how long you've been there, when you know, all of those things. That is public knowledge. So even when it comes to lending, you'll get a lot of things in the mail after you purchase a car, after you buy a house. You'll get a ton of stuff in the mail. Throw that stuff away. You have your insurance because you had to have it before closing. You don't need extra warranties unless you want to go out and actually research it. You don't need all of those things. So that's something also when you buy new things or you extend credit. That's why when I say when you go to get loans, don't go to them car dealerships and just sit there and let them people run your credit, because all that information is dispersed. Go to a financial institution, get your funding, and then go to, I always do that when I buy cars. My finance, it's straight. I know what car I'm getting, everything is good. I walk in, sign my paperwork, I go home. Don't let them run your credit. Don't just sit there and let things happen, because that's usually where that fraud comes in, is that the information becomes public. So like for my deed, for my attorney, which I appreciate, is they don't put the amount that I purchased the house. It's $10 on my deed. So it looks like I bought my house for $10. which I didn't, but that's what the attorney that I work with, that's what their normal practice is, to keep people from knowing that information.
John can share an incident with fraud and scam that happened to him.
You telling his business.
Well, it probably came to mind a couple of minutes ago. A gentleman that my second life, I drive a school bus, and another driver. In fact, you probably heard about him a few years ago. He's one of the lottery winners over in Seaford. Anyhow, he got a call that I was in London and I couldn't get back home. And we're good friends, and he thought I was good for it. He sent $4,000 to London. They liked it so much, a couple of days they called him back and said, look, they're having problems with getting John home. You need to send more. And they ordered another 4,000. 4,000 was the limit that he could send, so he called his son to send 4,000. And his son said, Dad, you might want to check on that, because I saw him the other day. He's in Delaware. So that's when he checked and found out it was a scam. And he said $4,000 to try to get me home. That's what good
He
friends.
tried calling you check. He tried calling check on you.
No. No.
$4,000, I'm calling him. No, what you mean? I was in Vegas on my 49th birthday, and I woke up in the morning and somebody put something on Facebook, and I just pushed yes. And they made a fake page and asked everybody to send me money because I was in Vegas. People know I was in Vegas. So they thought I went there and spent all my money gambling. So everybody was calling me, like, yo, where you at? You know what I mean? Like, you all right? Like, yeah, like, what's going on? They said, man, they got a fake page out on you saying that you need money. You're in Vegas. Yeah, it was scary.
That's happened to me, and my coworker was at work. So I'm on my way to work. He already at work, and I get an email. He's like, "Hey, I'm stuck." I said, how fast you get back?" I said, "Cause this email says you in England right now. So how fast did you get back?" So we were kind of sharing with people like, "Hey, you're gonna get emails like that," and that's just. It's always good to just check with your financial institution or tell somebody. Like if you're not sure, tell somebody. At least then they can say, all right, let's look at this together. Because it can happen to anybody. It really, truly can. But fraud is a big thing, and that's just because people don't have anything better to do at the time.
Well, it's like a job. They treat it as a job.
You paid $4,000 back.
Believe it or not, I called him. I said, "Look, buddy, I really feel sorry about that. That wasn't a good idea, and I don't feel obligated." I didn't.
Yeah, bro. I'm sorry, but I got no love for you. I'm glad I know you were for me, but I don't got you. We can't do that right now.
And I'm so glad that you lifted up like the power of communicating with your financial institution and having a relationship with them. I have a question. What advice would you give? I think a lot, especially in our community as well. And I don't we in a safe place. I mean, I know you're recording. I don't care. But in our community, if I ain't got it, I ain't got it. If I know you calling me for money or the payment, and it's not bills fine, but like credit cards and like that, and I don't have it, I'm not answering the phone. Like that's just me. But I think that's like a lot in our community. So my question is, what advice would you give to someone to restore that relationship with their institution if they had irresponsible practices when they were younger and they're on a better track now and trying to get on a better track financially now? Like, what advice would you give them to rebuild that relationship with their financial institution, even though their patterns beforehand weren't the best?
So start small. Start small. Open a savings account. If you can't have a checking account, which I've done, if you do like the little checks and stuff, I don't know. For the financial institutions that I work for, you had like a check system. So you go and run it, and some people don't qualify for checking accounts, right? So start with a savings. That don't mean because you don't qualify for a checking, you walk away.
Some financial institutions have, I guess you could call it a restorative account. So while you may show up on check systems, let's just say you show up on check systems, but you're at zero balance. So you're not still owing money. Cause sometimes people will come in, they're on check systems and they still 600 and all, you be like, first we gonna go make that whole, right? Like you're gonna go pay that first. But then they may have an account that may not let you write checks, but you may have a debit card and it may give you a monthly fee until you can establish that I'm ready now to have an account, and then you can graduate from that account to another account.
So just start small.
So you can go to you can apply for an account and they might not give it to you?
Yes.
You got money put in there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If you owe Time Mart or somewhere else, yes.
Yeah.
Because that says that you were there and you left them 600.
Try and get I'm gonna hit you up for $1,000.
But $5, and it was coming from $5 overdraft that you forgot to pay.
So it's the same thing with credit. I will say this, and I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I don't like credit repair places. Don't tell me you're gonna fix my credit overnight. Don't tell me if I give you $150 you can wipe all this stuff. Start small.
Okay.
Know your credit, know what you got on there, and just because it's bad or terrible, because I've seen 300 something scores, low fours. But that does not mean, I'm talking from experience because I've moved my credit score 150 plus points. And that comes from bad decision making when I was little, and then when I was younger, and then when I started working at banks, then I started to understand, okay, the power of credit, power of money through experience. I was like, okay. And then when I started getting into like that side of branches and really helping people and understand, I'm like, wait, I don't have to. And another thing, Jesus said, I don't have to live like this. So that was something else I told myself. The Lord said, I don't have to live like this. So that was another thing for me. But always start small and know that you can build. Just because you started off in the 18, 19, early 20s, maybe just now, you just, or in your situation with some people who are coming out who were incarcerated, they may have great credit or no credit. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they can't do anything, but let's start small. Don't try to jump from, I have terrible credits and now I want to buy a house. Let's learn how to use a credit card. Learn how to pay it back. What that means is you don't have to pay interest if you pay the full balance each month.
Yeah.
Learn what credit cards might work for you. There are secure credit cards where you can put the money down and that can help you build credit. And just understanding the power of taking that slow build. It doesn't have to be an overnight thing. It could take you a year to build your credit back or to get yourself back in good graces with your financial institution. But that year will teach you discipline. It will teach you the things that you need to know. And that way it doesn't happen again. If I fix it, if I go in, wipe your credit off, you do all that, I didn't change the habits. I just changed the moment. But if I change the habits, you can do a lot of things when you change the habits.
I think the biggest thing for me, if you said it's more so the credit thing. I think we're taught like when it comes to money, if I'm late on a bill, like a regular bill, I just pay that back. It may be a fee, may not be a fee. But when it comes to credit, like I don't think we understand like how being late or being over that 30% spending limit, how that impacts like our credit scores. And a lot of people don't understand the importance of even having a credit score. Like, what do I need credit for? Like, I'm not trying to, So I think as much as we talk about like your savings, your checking account, your Roth IRAs, like credit cards specifically, I feel like it's just a much needed topic, like, or having credit in our community.
It is. And it is because, just in financial literacy alone, right? Like there's times that we have provided workshops at, example, we go in probably early February and talk about savings and the importance of credit and savings because tax returns come, right? So rather than see the numerous amount of tags on cars, right? Right? So take an opportunity to utilize that piece to it, right? The other piece to credit is thinking about there's different level tiers credit cards. So you have your tier ones, which is probably your Chase and the black cards, those. Then you have tier 2, 3, and 4. If you start at 3 and 4, you're probably always gonna get those types of offers. Right, which means those are the ones that be like $100 annual fee and those. So you have to be mindful that you don't get sucked into the tier 3 and 4 credit cards, but that you strive and stay below the 30% of your limit in order to stay in the top 1 or 2 tiers credit cards.
I think my problem was, like, in my household growing up, it was about survival. Nobody teach me about credit. All that I learned through trial and error. We trying to eat. I don't think my mom ever owned a credit card. You know what I mean? We were trying to eat. You know. So, and later on in life, I learned that credit probably is better than cash.
Yeah.
You know,
You have to
because
use a mix, right? Because even now, different employers, depending on where you go for employment, they run a credit check now.
yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you gotta think about that now, and before you didn't. Social media is
your insurance
now,
companies.
to go look for a job now sometimes. They check out social media.
See if you on there all the time. Perfect.
Seeing that foolery you doing on social media.
Like they'll fire you at Title Health. They will. If you post anything, they fired a doctor and a couple of employees because they posted something negative about Title Health, and so they got fired. Yeah, they got fired.
But it's just
And something not even related to the job.
Yeah.
This been a few years ago, but a teacher got dismissed and she's on vacation. She has a beer can in her hand. They partying. They having a good time on their vacation. And she got dismissed. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was a teacher. Wow. I don't know if they thought that post was a negative influence because she was a teacher, but they are checking social media. They doing a whole lot of stuff. You just got to be careful.
How important is a credit score if you don't have any debt, you don't have any mortgage, you don't have car loans or anything? I've always thought, I just started looking at credit score the last few years. I didn't think it was important.
So when I tell people who don't necessarily need credit, like let's say I'm not going out to buy a car, or I'm not going out to buy a house where I would need that, it's just to have a small credit card. You'd be surprised just using a small, like it don't have to have you don't have to have $1,000, $10,000 limit. Small credit card, $500. And what you do is something I teach people who are trying to build credit. Subscriptions. Everybody's got them. Netflix, Hulu, all that. Throw a subscription on there. You're going to pay for it anyway. Put it on your credit card. It continues to build your credit. So in the event you were to say, oh, you know what? I do want to use credit today, and I'll use credit instead, and then maybe pay off a car or something like that later, you still have it. You don't have to use it all the time, but it's good to have a credit score because you just never know what could happen, or if you would need something and you need it right away, and maybe you need to borrow the money now, but maybe in a year or two you can pay it off.
Being in a financial institute, y'all probably see a lot of people in there that got millions of dollars. Probably.
Not Sussex County.
Huh?
Yes, don't say that. Yes.
You know, it's Sussex County.
Yes.
There's some old money.
Come on now.
Do they care about credit?
Remember, we're in a conservative country here.
Do they care
But
about
there's
credit?
some millionaires in Delaware.
Honestly, they know. But what I found is sometimes, and it's not always the case, the people who make more money have terrible credit. So I was working with this lady, and I was just like, what happened? You make 6 figures, man. What is going on? And she just never paid attention. So that's what it is. It's just the education piece. It's not always people sometimes have so much money they're not paying attention, or people don't have money and they just like, you know what, I ain't got it anyway, so I'm not gonna pay attention. I ain't got it.
They feel defeated. And knowledge is power.
So
right? Knowledge is power. So being able to know, and even if you don't know, finding somebody that does know, right? Not being afraid to ask the questions, not being afraid to do the hard work is where the success is gonna come.
And so what I do now, so I'm not in a financial institution anymore. I work for the state. So I work for the Division of Small Business. I'm their finance director over there. So I do all our grants, loan programs, bond programs over there. But I was in banking for 16 years prior to that. A major bank, and then at a credit union, a local credit union here in Delaware. But my biggest passion is the lending piece. I've done consumer, mortgage, and commercial lending, and business owners, I find, are the ones that you got to kind of help the most. It's not, individuals kind of get themselves together, but as a business owner, sometimes you have to remember that this entity yes, it exists, and there are business credit reports and all that kind of stuff what people don't know, but your personal credit is just as important as your business. and you go to get a commercial loan or do something like that, and you don't have that personal credit together, that's also important. So lending is a big passion of mine because I know it can be done and credit can be used in a positive manner. But we have to learn how to make credit work for us and not us going out and buying things again. Credit cards, you know, when we're younger, we think it's free money. I just swear it works. You and this overdraft. The card works.
$5.
They don't even exist anymore.
No wonder when I'm looking at zeros in the red, zeros.
You know what I mean? Like we think because it works or I don't have to pay or out of sight, out of mind. Even with our bills sometimes, we're just like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. How many times I've told people, go shop for car insurance. Stop telling these people like you've been here 10 years and you don't go look. And tell them, listen, I'm looking for car insurance. So if you can't do something, I'm gonna have to jump ship because this is what they're trying to give me each month. Told it. Now some things with your electric, lights, gas, listen, you just turn the lights off. You might work by candlelight for a little bit. Be all right. But with things you can control, car insurance, your car payments, things like that, look at those things and say, how can I save money? I used to tell people all the time, why are you paying $300, $400, $500 a month in car insurance? When's the last time you looked at it? Do you know what you had? Maybe you don't need that much coverage because they tell you, oh yeah, you don't understand your policy. So you got a $500,000 policy on a 2002 Honda. You don't need that. Can you drop to liability only? What does liability only mean? Those kinds of things, because I've worked in insurance a little bit too. So understanding all the aspects of finances and where you can save money is, and like she said, knowledge is power. We don't take the time to just learn ourselves what my account does, what's the interest rates. Like my checking account gives me money back. I get interest, nice interest on my checking account. I get interest on my savings accounts. All of those things, the rewards on your credit cards. When you're looking at those tier 2, like, are you getting cash back? Because I'm not paying for a credit card. If I'm already giving you the interest, I'm not going to pay you for me to hold the card in my wallet. I get cash back rewards. What can I use that on? What are their rewards programs? When you're talking to your employers, it's not all about the bottom line of what you're getting paid. What are you matching in my 401k? What does my health insurance cost look like if I stick with you? Because some employers, it's great. It's not that much each month. And some, you're looking at $400 or $500 a month that's coming out of your check, and you didn't realize that when you weren't talking to them about health benefits. So it's understanding tax returns. I know we all like to ball out beginning of the year, but realizing what you can pay off. Every year, I'm like, listen, what can I pay off? What can I pay down? What can I put some money towards? So that my tax returns work for me. And I'm not out here with a Gucci bag and my mortgage is the same principal balance it was last year. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things.
So, you had said about a car. So, I remember, when I went and got, my car, yeah, I want to get rid of. Because, sorry, I got my nerves. But, you should go to the bank and.
So, yes. So what I do, and I don't say that you can do, because a couple things about dealerships with indirect lending. They get kickbacks every time you purchase a car there and you finance through them. The financial institution pays them money, right? Fun fact. But I get my financing ahead of time. That is research. When I say that research is important before you make giant purchases like homes and cars, research is important. So I look at, okay, these are the features I want in a car. What cars have these? What cars have the best reliability? Then I go and say, what is my monthly payment? You never tell a car dealership, this is what I can afford. This is what you never tell them.
Because that's what they'll make it.
They'll make it. And your
frame
interest
it
rate
to
is
be
15%. And
But
it's
the
spread
car
out.
would be so high.
Yeah, the interest rate is high.
Okay.
Your term is long.
Or
but
72 months.
Yeah, I got a six-year term.
And what that looks like as far as, and these are things you may not know, right? So like loan to value and things like that. But these are things like people like myself, like her, like that can teach you. But when you go research, I know what car I'm getting before I hit the line. Last time when I bought my car last year, the one I have now, he was like, oh, do you want to look around? Nope, sir. I need the last 6 digits of this VIN is this one. I know it's over here. I saw it when I came in. I just need to test drive it.
There you go.
I test drove it. I said, oh, wait, stop here, sir. Let me look at this one. I looked at that one. Nope, it's too small. Let me get back in this one. Tell me how much time I have. Do I need to put down a deposit? And how much time do I have to get you a check? He was like, oh, do you want to sit down? No. Tell me how much time I have to get you a check. They come back, look at your bill of sale. They add warranties all the time. Nope, take that off. I know what you got. Take that off. Take that off. Take that off. I don't even know that. Texas tags, and maybe I might get. Well, I got my maintenance package because it worked for me. Those kinds of things. Being informed of your loan to value. Getting gap insurance, because a lot of times we total these vehicles and we don't have gap, and now we're stuck with $10,000 left in a car that we paying for a car we don't have. So those kinds of things. No, like now you want to trade in your car. You need to know the value of your car.
$4,000.
Okay. And how much you owe, because now you got to roll in negative equity.
12.
So now that you have to roll in negative equity, you might have to get something that you may not want right now, but work towards getting that paid off. So we have to understand those types of things, and you may not always understand it, but ask. And next time you want to buy a car, let me know.
I bought one brand new car in my life. I would never do it again. I would never do it again. I bought my car $20,000 in 2002. I sold $150 to a school kid. But now I try to buy used cars. That's great. The last car I bought, it was a lemon. I put 2 motors in there, like in less than 2 years. But I paid so much money for it. I paid $14,000 for it that the motor cost $10,000. So either trade in or let's lose that $14,000. So I went for a motor. That was $10,000. A year later, it blew up again. That was another $10,000. But the warranty covered. He didn't want to, but they had to because I had like a 3-year warranty cover that. But I said it because I found out when you buy a new car, so you take off a lot, the value's gone. It ain't worth nothing. You know what I mean? So that's why I actually.
Well, and part of that is just understanding that you don't need, and sometimes there's deals. So sometimes, like when Enterprise and them pick up the cars and they give them the dealerships, they're a little bit cheaper, the miles are lower. So just knowing kind of what you want and getting the car or the SUV, whatever you need. Like at one point I needed a 3rd row SUV. I don't need that anymore, so I downsized. It's just about research. You never go into large purchases like cars and houses and you don't do your research of your market, where you're going to live, especially with houses. It sounds great because the house is only $250. The property taxes in that area are $3,000 a year. Because if you go to Newcastle, I can tell you if there's some people are paying $2,500 a year just in property taxes.
And New Jersey, $16,000.
Well, I had a man move from Texas.
How you pay that,
$6,000 a year.
How you pay that?
You
How you pay
don't
that?
pay the
the
financial
dollar.
tax. They not overdrafting their account. Property tax. So understanding what that looks like, what homeowners insurance looks like. If you're in a flood zone, you need flood insurance now. I got out of my flood insurance, but it's those things are. It's about finding the knowledge. Don't go into situations blind. That's how people get you. That's how you get scammed. That's how fraud happens. That's how all of these things happen when you don't look for how can I make this work. And sit down with people like Jvonne and say, hey, this is what I want to, like I said before, this is what I want to do. And you may not understand it, but now she has the knowledge and you're partnering with somebody that can walk you through and navigate that for you. Because your financing is now secured with her. And you just walk in the dealership, pick up your car. Now, they made me wait because I was financed. They thought they was going to break me. I said, I'll sit here all night because I got to check. But, all of that is done. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about what my payments are. I knew that before I bought the car.
Right.
I can talk to, now I'm sitting down with, because my friend helped me. She's a branch manager at the financial institution. I was like, listen, what's the payments looking like? She was like, well, we can do this, we can do that. Do you want to stretch it out? I'm like, I don't want to stretch it. Add the gap, blah, blah, blah. Gap at dealerships, really expensive. Can run you $500, $600, $700. Sometimes at financial institutions, the gap insurance is a lot less because they're getting it directly from the insurance company and maybe only adding a couple hundred where the dealership is adding $500 or $600 to your gap insurance. Look at those things. some financial institutions have car warranties already, like they have the mechanical breakdowns and things like that. So see if those are things that you can take advantage of.
So those commercials that A.R.I.S.E and all them are really good. What's that?
No.
Which one? Which one?
So,
The CarMax ones?
Yeah.
Or car
No, they're talking about the
Vivica
insurance
Fox
companies.
and
Yeah, Vivica
The
Fox
war-
and
the car
I.C
warranties?
or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You
No.
pay like so much, cause my dad been bugging me about getting it, and I'm not getting it.
No.
I'm not sure. I don't know about
It's not
that,
good.
and you would have to do like research on that. And like I said, a lot of times the warranties that you need, you just gotta look for the things you need. You may not need it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I'm not driving cross country every 5 minutes, I don't need mechanical breakdowns. You know what I mean? My job is 2 minutes from my house. I go there, I come back. You know what I mean? So I may not need that. I don't need oil changes as often, but just don't.
I
I've
think
seen
most of
people
us, we so excited in the car, they tell us all this stuff. We're like, oh man, we got everything. We got everything.
They're excited.
And they're excited to see you come.
They saying ching ching.
They are. And remember, this is their job. Like their job is to sell cars. Their jobs are to, finance mortgages. Their jobs are to sell homes. So again, they have to make a living too. And we're not saying that these people are bad people, because they're not. This is what they chose to do in life, and there are good people out there. But know the power that you have before you do something, and take that power and say, hey, I'm not doing that. Because I took the car back. I sure enough did. They was like, oh, why are you back? We can fix it. I want my deposit back. I want my car. Like, nope.
I want that car.
A couple days, and I said, I don't like it. Take it back. And know that. Know what your length is when you can return a car, because you can in some cases. I took it right back.
Oh!
30 days.
I'm going to Florida.
No, but I
You
knew
gonna test
it was
drive,
bad
right?
when I bought it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it back, because you guys aren't being honest with me. I took it back. Within a couple days, I had a new car, and I was good to go. But just knowing the process, knowing the system, knowing how it works, and budgeting. You know what you can afford. These car payments is turning into mortgage payments.
Yes, they are.
Don't do it. Anytime somebody tell me their car payment over like $500-600, I'm like, what are you driving?
I know it.